What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VIII. Last time we fought Ultima Weapon, and we made contact with the aliens. And now that all of the optional content that I'm going to be showing is out of the way, we're back here in Esther to start heading into the endgame to finish FF8. So the route we're taking now should look pretty familiar. The city is pretty much in lockdown, everyone's panicking, the sky is blood red, monsters are still raining from the sky. We're heading back to the presidential palace to have a word with the good president of Esther, whose identity is still kind of a mystery to us. You probably know who it is, but for the sake of the reveal, I'm not going to spoil anything just yet. Ah, this FMV plays every time, that's cool. It's one of the few FMVs that does that. I don't think the car rental one plays every time. So if we were to hang a right here, we would be back in that main lobby area where the aide to the president was. But we haven't been over here yet. Gives a nice view of the city below. Because this is where the president is. We know that his assistants were Ward and Kiros, so that in the distance... Oh, I could have timed that better. It's Laguna. Spoilers. Oh, he wants us to come forward. I thought the scene was just gonna play out on its own. Yeah, so the Sorceress War that ended 17 years ago, with Adel being sealed away in a tomb, ended with Laguna becoming president of Esther. Weird, right? Yeah, and they foreshadowed it pretty heavily though, with him becoming the head of the resistance movement, as he was imprisoned with the Moomba and... I don't even remember who that guy was. Oh, my water bottle fell off the table. Oh, well, I'm good and hydrated for this one. I came into the finale prepared. Okay, so, yeah, there are a lot of questions that we might have for him. I'm only interested in one, though. Explain the mission to defeat Ultimecia. Just like a workaholic seed. Oh god, that can only mean one thing, it's Odine. Okay. However, I want... Okay, so she comes from the future to possess the Sorceress. Her body's left in the future, her consciousness is sent back. Just like what Elan does. And this is the part where Dr. Odine explains that he built something called Junction Machine Elan, which I talked about before. It's that machine that Ultimecia in the future uses to send her consciousness back, and it's based on the research that Dr. Odine did on Elan while she was in Esther. I researched Elan's power a long time ago, blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know how that works, but sure. Goofy ass mad scientist. So while he explains this thing that I already explained a while back... Oh wait. Yeah, this part of Esther's theme. It's so cool. Right. I learned some other stuff about the combat system in Final Fantasy watching that French making of mini documentary. For instance, I learned that the combat system in Final Fantasy in general, stuff like the ATB gauge and the formations and stuff, that was inspired by American football and Formula 1, which I would have never guessed. And I still don't quite understand how some of that inspired the systems in Final Fantasy. Like the football comparison I get because it's the inspiration for the way the characters line up in formation against the enemies. I don't know how Formula 1 really inspired the ATB gauge. I mean, I kinda do, The guy who designed the ATV gauge for 4 was watching an F1 race, and he thought it would be cool to translate like how the cars pass each other in the race into Final Fantasy by having their classes and abilities and stuff affect their speed. I kinda get that, but it's just... The genesis of some of these ideas comes from... They come from places that you would never expect, especially because it was new and novel then, but now it's just kind of taken for granted, systems like that. Really weird place to take inspiration from, though. I also remember reading about how there was gonna be an even bigger Star Wars homage in 4 than I initially thought. Like, I always knew Biggs and Wedge were named after the wingmen from Episode 4. I didn't know Golbez was a Darth Vader homage, even though it seems really obvious now when you think about it. Like, look at Golbez and Vader side by side, and then look at his role in the game. He is exactly Darth Vader. That's his exact character. Yeah, Golbez is intentionally a Vader homage. FF4 also has, like, the best airship in Final Fantasy. While I'm going on this tangent, the Lunar Whale, yeah. The Ragnarok is great and all, and it reminds me of Outlaw Star a bunch, but the goddamn Lunar Whale, too silly. The Lunar Whale was also like one of the airship models hanging up in Mayor Dobie's house back in Fisherman's Horizon. Laguna's big speech about love and friendship, stupid. stupid trope. Yeah, Square knew. Square knew the Lunar Whale was the best kind of, like, ludicrous airship you could have. It's right up there with Chrono Trigger's airship, except the Chrono Trigger airship at least makes sense in universe. The Lunar Whale is just like, what? Man, I love that thing. Actually, you know what? You know Sakaguchi begged Square to let him do a Chrono Trigger sequel? Like an actual proper sequel and not something like Chrono Cross? He was gonna get the band back together and everything, and Square Enix's management was just like, nope, for no reason. He talked about this at his PAX Prime panel. It fucking sucks. And Square is ridiculous. They put out a DS version of Chrono Trigger a couple of years ago, I think like 2009 was it? And it was $40! 40! And it still sold almost 1 million units, maybe a little less, for a goddamn $40 port of a decade-and-a-half-old game? And they come out and go, well, I guess if you really wanted Chrono Trigger, if you really wanted a Chrono Trigger sequel, you'd buy more, I guess you just don't want it. God damn it, Square. Like, fuck. And when Chrono Trigger, when it originally came out, it was, I remember it being really successful. Oh, the Laguna light cramp up again. Like that recurring gag. Yeah, Square Enix, fucking sucks. I hate them. Meanwhile, FF13-2 sells like shit, and they immediately greenlight 13-3, and they work on actively shoving lightning into as much shit as possible. It's such nonsense. It's the same shit that Capcom pulls. Hey, we might make a new Darkstalkers if you buy Resurrection, a ridiculously priced remake of a game you've already played and own. Oh, I guess you just don't like Darkstalkers then. Man, that was a really long tangent. Point being, Square Enix is shit. Squaresoft was godly, let's see, what else? Fuck Final Fantasy with Spirits Within for killing Squaresoft. If you take nothing else away from this LP, it's that you don't get Chrono Trigger sequels or good old-fashioned FF anymore, because of it. But enough of that. We finally departed from Esther. We're heading to the Lunatic Pandora, breaking through in our sick-ass gunship. That function of the Ragnarok was not really discussed up until this point. It's a battleship, man. And, yeah, more cool Outlaw Star stuff. It's got, these grappling arms. Just claws its way inside the wall of the Lunatic Pandora. Unfortunately, the Lunatic Pandora is not much of a dungeon. It's mostly just a straight run through a couple of bosses. It's a boss rush, is what it is. Which is a shame, because the structure of the Lunatic Pandora is so big and so intimidating and so cool looking. Would have been really nice to have a proper dungeon made out of this place. But we're not too far away from the game's final dungeon, and the final dungeon of the game is awesome. I can't say enough how good that final dungeon is. It's excellent. First, though, we're gonna have to go through a couple of bosses, starting with Raijin and Fujin. You thought they were out of the way, but they're still around. This is our... Wait, is it? I think this is our final fight with Raijin and Fujin. I can't remember if they come back one more time, like 5 minutes from now. I guess we'll see in a second. No, this is the final fight. I'm gonna commit to that one, and then be wrong later? As much as I like Raijin and Fujin, they're not... As fights go, they're not terribly memorable. Especially not when you're this, jacked up. Yeah. Raijin's just gonna go down just like that, leaving Fujin, who, to be fair, is much cooler. She's not gonna last much longer than Raijin did, though. This might be it, in fact. Yep. And I've, sleep junction to status attack just for good measure. It seemed to work. Got both Raijin and Fujin in that fight to go to sleep. Oh, Mega Elixirs I don't need right now, because I stocked up beforehand. Oh, and we get some more of the Lunatic Pandora's sweet, sweet music. Unfortunately, it's the last time we get to hear it. So enjoy it while you can. Oh, we know these two. Biggs and Wedge, back again. For the third time. Chose the wrong career. Yeah, why don't you quit? He's just now considering it, and it was a joke. Nah. So yeah, instead of a third Biggs and Wedge fight, they're gonna go home and have a drink. They're done with this shit. Everything's gotten too out of hand. They've lost to a bunch of teenagers too many times. Bye-bye, Biggs and Wedge. And I'm pretty sure this is the first Final Fantasy that they actually survive till the end. Usually when Biggs and Wedge show up, they're dead by the end of the game. Spoilers for other Final Fantasies, I guess. Then again, I already spoiled the best part of any Final Fantasy game, which is when Sabin suplexes a train in FF6. I don't remember which way they want me to go here, and I'm not sure if it matters. I guess we'll see in a second. It's not much of a dungeon. I guess it's more of just a level. Oh no, because I want to get to the number 3 elevator. And I guess I can't jump off the ledge. This tiny, tiny 3-inch drop. So we'll head through the tubes, just like the internet. And come out on the other side so we can get up the elevator and start this, this boss rush proper. Okay, the number 2 elevator leads us down to this central room that we've seen a bunch of times now. So, there we go. Number 1 should be where we're going, actually. I think I said the number 3 elevator before, but since we're down here now, this will just take us straight up to where we want to be. Last time we were here, it was with Quistis, Zell, and Adia, and we got up to this exact point. We got the speed junction scroll from the left, and we got up here, and we were promptly thrown off of the bridge by a robot. So that robot is gonna be recurring. It was this exact screen, in fact. So Fujin and Raijin still not giving up, but we're not gonna fight them again. Instead, we get a boss fight against this thing, Mobile Type 8, who for some reason doesn't just throw us out of the Lunatic Pandora again. It didn't really have much of a problem doing that to Zell and Adia and them. So the way this fight works is that it has a left and a right probe, which can either be connected or disconnected from the boss. When they're connected to him, like they are now, he does that attack, the twin homing laser counterattack, whenever you hit him. Which I'm gonna ignore because it's not doing any significant damage to me. He can also use an attack called Corona, which will reduce everybody's HP to 1. And he'll do that, this weird, silly whip attack from his tail? His bottom half? His ass? His robo-ass. His robo-ass will whip you with purple strings. I'm surprised these actually lasted this long. Feels like for, like, what a filler boss this is. He has a lot of HP. He's surviving a decent number of attacks. Let's see if he survives one more by Squall, though. Yes, he will. It will. Assigning a gender to it. But this is a losing fight for him. Wow, Renoa did more damage than Squall. The power of an Ultima junction and a crit. And yeah, that's a cool death animation for a filler boss. And now, oh, and he gives you a laser cannon at the end. Forgot about that, if you don't mug him. Can't remember what you get for mugging him. So, Fujin and Raijin still not quite given up yet. But we're not gonna fight them again. Because Fujin is finally deciding to be the voice of reason. We've had enough. So they're gonna let Alon go. Because Seifer is not in his right mind right now. So this is the final boss coming up of Disc 3. And Seifer at this point has really, really lost it. But there's kind of an amicable parting with Raijin and Fujin though, which is nice. I like Seifer a lot. The only thing special to note about the fight coming up, aside from haggard Seifer showing signs of wear and tear from battle with his radical, tattered coat, is this is where we're gonna be getting Gilgamesh. As long as you picked Odin up before the end of Disc 3, you get Gilgamesh here. He's always gotta go out doing something big. This is where I don't quite understand his motivations, if he's still being controlled by Ultimecia or not, if he's still being manipulated, if he's just doing this on his own, as his own form of closure. I don't know at this point. His motivations kind of feel all over the place. So we start the fight off with an odd sight for a boss fight. Odin shows up. Odin never shows up for a boss fight, except here. What a goddamn badass Seifer is. Odin charges at him to do his normal one-hit kill. Seifer stands there, takes it, and cuts him in half. Oh yeah! And then the fight carries on like normal for a little bit until Gilgamesh shows up later on. That's how you get Gilgamesh. So since Seifer's not gonna do anything terribly special in this third fight... Ooh, actually, is that called Bloodfest? Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Oh, and it's the cross that he wears. That's cool. That's a really cool animation. So yeah, he does some stuff. The fight's not terribly special mechanically, though. It's not going to demand anything from us. I am going to cast Meltdown to speed things along and lower his defense. Gilgamesh, though, is the single most recurring character in any FF, and this signals that the fight is over because Gilgamesh is coming at the end of the fight. He used to be a recurring villain. He's a sword collector who was always looking for Excalibur. He actually has Excalibur in this one, but he was looking for Odin's blade. So Gilgamesh pops out from a rift in time and space opened up by Odin when he died. And he pops out and he collects Odin's Zentetskin. Where's the dimensional interval? I wish they didn't freeze the frame and just let him walk off like that and phase out like a badass. So Gilgamesh works in a similarly random way to Odin. He will appear randomly in fights and attack enemies. However, there's a lot more to him that makes him more interesting than Odin. He, for one, he can appear mid-fight if he wants, he can appear during bosses, and he uses one of 4 attacks randomly based on which sword he's attacking with. He can use Zentetskin, which kills everything. He can use the Masamune, which does a bunch of damage, and he can use the Excalibur, which does a bunch of damage to everyone. And then he also can, he has a 25% chance of using an attack called Excalibur, which does 1 damage, 1 point of damage. The only thing though, Zentetskin will not kill bosses, even though he can show up and try to kill bosses. Adel up here being the notable exception to that. He can kill Adel, but there's a reason why you would want that to not happen. So yeah, I guess Seifer is still under Ultimecia's control at this point, because he's bringing Rinoa to Adel, who's just now starting to wake up from her cryostasis, from her seal. But that's it, that's the end of Disc 3. We don't actually get the Adel fight until the beginning of the next disc. So far, Disc 1 and 2 ended with us fighting a Sorceress, with us fighting a Dia. And spoilers for Disc 4, but Ultimecia, kind of final antagonist of the game, so Disc 4 ends with us fighting a Sorceress. Disc 3 ended with Seifer, because they ran out of space on Disc 3. The original plan was to have you fight Adel at the end of Disc 3, but instead it's Disc 4 that starts with it. And Adel is a pretty cool fight. Kind of a shame that they didn't save her for a disc finale. But either way, we're gonna jump right into it. Climb up the scaffolding of the Lunatic Pandora, and work our way across. What? That was kinda weird. I thought I had entered this. Every time you get a good look at Adel, man, really, really cool design. So Seifer's brought Rinoa directly to Adel. 2 sorceresses together. And that FMV leads directly into the fight. So, Adel has junctioned Rinoa onto her body. Man, she's jacked like a demonic china. And it kind of looks like she's topless, but it's just like, it's flesh-colored body armor or some bullshit like that. I still love her design, though. Man, it's awesome. The fight's also super interesting because of Rinoa being junctioned onto her. Because if Rinoa dies, you lose. So you can't AoE Adel down, you have to be really careful about which limit breaks you use. Also, Adel is constantly draining HP from Rinoa throughout the fight. So one thing you can do is you can draw cast regen from Rinoa onto her to keep her alive while Adel drains from her. So remember back in Timber, we had the TV station when we were climbing up right before the president's broadcast, and there were words flashing between the static on the monitors? Well, I guess I can finally tell you this. The words were, "Bring me back there, I am alive here, I'll never let you forget about me." That was back in Disc 1. Those were Adel's words, as she was orbiting the Earth frozen in her tomb. Her tomb is what caused all the radio interference. It's why that plot point was such a big deal back then. They foreshadowed that well ahead of time. The interference that started 17 years ago when the Sorceress War ended and Adel was sealed away. So aside from Rinoa being junctioned onto Adel and Adel constantly draining life from her, the fight is pretty normal. She'll cast some fairly weak and mid-level magic at you, but really, it's Rinoa that's your main concern in this fight. And that is how we kick off Disc 4, the end of the game. Disc 4, not nearly as long as the other discs. Really, it's just the end game at this point. So, Rinoa's safe. And Alon is going to start sending her consciousness back in time. After I guess she took on Adel's sorceress powers as well. So, that consequently is also going to send Ultimecia, her consciousness, back in time, just like what Ultimecia wanted. And she's going to start time compression, and that is what is going to kick off the events of the endgame. Here we go. It's a really convoluted plan for a really convoluted plot, but all you need to really wrap your head around here is we're breaking through the giant time condom and time traveling to go defeat a future witch who is in the past. Blah, blah, blah. All the little droplets of time, the globules of time, with different moments frozen inside, compressing into one, is an amazingly realized image. And then an ocean, for some reason. Like a proper ocean with fish, not some weird time ocean. Just the ocean. And see Nemo swimming about. But that's cool. Falling from the ocean into the sky? Upside down? Yeah! This whole scene is too damn good. And this is the most clearly classic Doctor Who inspired section of the whole game. There is no way that that's not, like, directly ripped from, oh, that's interesting, from, Doctor Who. We have a room full of save points. So, go through the far doors. And that looks like when Adia was sitting in the exact same position back at the end of Disc 1. But it's clearly not. It's several Adias. What the hell? So while you're traveling through compressed time, it takes you through all the places you've been, and meanwhile you're fighting 11 different sorceresses. The first 6 I think, they only use one spell each, and then the next ones will start casting double on themselves and using mid-level magic, and then the last one, you'll see. Yeah, and each one that you fight takes you to a different location that you visited. A different piece of scenery. It's a fun little way to reuse some cool assets. And the sorceresses themselves, even though they're weak as hell and nothing special, they have 3 unique designs, which is kind of nice. And they're meant to indicate how strong they are. So the weak ones are all dressed like this. I'm not sure how many we've been through so far. I'll know once we get to the next design. Yeah, 11 of them in total. We're back in the training center. We haven't seen this place in a good long time. Yeah, they'll take one hit each. I think this might be the 6th one. Again, I haven't been keeping close track. It'll end when it ends. It does pad the length of the Sorceress fights out a little bit, though. There we go, we're on to the 7th one, because this one has changed designs. Kind of has a little bit of an Alice in Wonderland design to it. Oh, and yeah, that's not a graphical glitch, I don't think. That's time warping the area, and stairs are melting and contorting and whatnot. That strikes me as like, when they were designing this fight, they ran into a glitch and went, oh man, that's cool, let's make that a part of the game. Kind of like the chopper fight in Half-Life 2, when it releases all the bombs at the end. That started as a glitch, and they realized that it was so cool that they just made it the final desperation attack of that boss fight. Like, I believe what happened was, it was supposed to shoot its guns, but they accidentally put, like, the wrong bit of code in there. So instead of shooting bullets, it shot bombs out instead. They realized it was such a cool glitch that they just kept the attack in. That stuff happens more often than you think. Glitches become actual mechanics. And now, yeah, this Technicolor Nightmare Centipede Sorceress is the final one, the 11th one. Ooh, she's got a real creepy looking attack. In fact, I think, yeah, that's she didn't name it, but it's called Creepy Hands, and she uses it as a counterattack whenever she's not counting down. When she starts a countdown, when it hits 0, she casts Ultima. But she might die at this rate before she even starts the countdown. Otherwise, she just uses, like, double and flare and stuff. Yeah, she's gonna use Creepy Hands on everybody. Her creepy hands are going everywhere. So really, there's not much to it except to just keep beating her up, and if you really get into trouble, heal. The deal with Creepy Hands, the counterattack, it always deals critical damage, so it's hitting fairly hard. Nothing really worth worrying about yet. There we go, she actually is counting down now. End this with Duel, though. Booyah. Right, left. That is circle X. That, yeah. This is why Zell has the strongest damage potential in the game. Because the timer freezes while the attack animation plays, and it only takes a tiny fraction of a second to do the input. So really, you can get him doing more damage than anybody else in the game. You can get this Limit Break doing more damage with just that combo than Lionheart. It's pretty crazy. Especially when you luck out and roll a longer timer, like a 10 or 11 second time limit for Zell to input his attacks over and over and over again. It's pretty great. Does more damage than Irvine, does more damage than Lionheart, if you're quick enough with the inputs. She drops a bunch of stones, which is 1 magic apiece. You're meant to use the item to actually cast the magic, but not really worth it. And we're back here, back in the orphanage. And nobody is around right now. You know, I actually forgot it brings you back here. So instead, we'll head out the front door. No Adia, no Sid, nobody, nothing. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. waiting off in the distance is the final dungeon of the game, Ultimecia's castle. And it's got this one element that I love and I wish you could see more of. It's anchored in the sky. It's chained there with these enormous chains. You see that in Crown of the Old Iron King. You see that in, I believe, Ganon's castle at the end of Ocarina of Time. I wish this was a more common trope because it's so cool. Every time I see something like this, every time I see this, every time I've replayed FF8, gets me every time. Kind of short-lived, though. So, we are going to save up, and we will enter Ultimecia's castle. The CC Club is back on the Ragnarok. There's still an overworld that we could do some stuff with. There's portals to the outside world around the castle. No time for that, though. It's time to save the world and end the game. Everyone's getting themselves ready and psyched up. This place is the final dungeon, and it is awesome. The rest of the dungeons in the game have kind of come in little bite-sized pieces. But this one, this is a full meal. Yeah, I'll stick with that team. Quista, Zell, and Squall? Sure. Yeah, this one. This is the real deal. Easily one of my favorite locations in the game. There are random monsters scattered throughout at random levels. I'm gonna keep Encounter None on because, really, they are irrelevant. Your powers were sealed by Ultimecia's servants, command ability, limit break, resurrection, save, item magic, GF, draw, command. All of them are sealed while you're inside the castle. That's one of the gimmicks of this place. The main gimmick is that there are these green switches. So you have an A party and a B party. And the green switches switch you to the other party. And it provides this little puzzle element. And then the other gimmick of the castle is that your abilities are sealed. And you have to fight bosses throughout the castle in fixed encounters to get them back. And you start off with only the attack command. But luckily they give you a couple of jobber enemies to start off with, like the Sphinxara enemy here. Woo, 139 damage in the final dungeon. Super, super scary. And you do enough damage to it, and you knock its headpiece off, and it changes forms, and it's still a jobber enemy. It's put here just so you can unlock your first power and plan your route and your progression path throughout the dungeon. You actually get a choice of what to unlock and when, which opens up some cool little strategic options for how you approach this dungeon. Cool design for a weak boss. Also, a pretty elaborate death animation for, like, such a nothing fight. So there's one boss for every single ability you have sealed. You can unlock all of them. You don't have to, I don't think. It's a good idea to, but you can totally go into the final fight and beat the game with a couple of them sealed, I think. So if you try to run across the chandelier here, it drops into this room just ahead of the room you entered from. So we have a little bit of a problem. But not quite yet, because there's a hatch in the floor that leads down to the wine cellar, and it leads to the second boss of the dungeon, Tripoint, who you can see floating there in the background. You just have to step underneath him to get him to engage you. Tripoint here can be pretty tough because he has a really, really strong counterattack. The trick is to use the element that he's weak to. You should also know here that if you missed drawing Guardian Forces earlier, all of those can be found here. For instance, you can draw Siren from Tripoint if you missed her on disc 1. Other than that, yeah, Mega Spark is really, really nasty. Ooh, yeah, 2,500 to everyone. Luckily, I'm too strong for him to get a lot of those counterattacks off, otherwise this would be a problem. He can be weak to either fire or ice, and you have to scan him to find out which one. And if you hit him with his weak element, he will not use Mega Spark on you, but he'll then switch to his other weak element, so you have to keep rotating. And then, he didn't do this during the fight. When he scans you, he's preparing to do an attack that might one-shot someone in your party. So next up, Guardian Force. Because the boss coming up, I kind of want... Well, I do have magic for him, but... Yeah, we'll show some Guardian Forces off. I realize I still haven't showed Bahamut or Eden. So from here, there's this little side room here that leads to a corridor that now that we've gone through it from this side, it's unlocked and it acts as a shortcut between these two rooms because it leads back out into the room you entered into. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to switch to my other party and I'm going to switch junctions from Quistis has Diablo. So I'm going to give that to Irvine so Irvine has Encounter None real quick. And now that this door is unlocked, we'll use it as a shortcut back to the room we found the wine cellar. And this party is going to be used to hold down a switch. After the chandelier crashed, you saw it retracted back to the ceiling. So the trick here is that there's a lever that you stand on. And then you switch back to your party, and now I'll put Encounter... There's going to be a lot of this switching back and forth. I'll put Encounter None back on, and heal up, because that messed my HP up. So since the switch is now depressed, we can go back upstairs and back through the room we were trying to get through before, when the chandelier fell down. And since the switch is being pressed, the chandelier stays up, and we can use it as a bridge to get across to this room on the second floor, where we find the third boss. Kind of cool looking crystal design. In fact, named Krista. The only reason that this boss is remarkable at all is because he has super high defense. Show me what you got. Stilted taunting. This is what I have. I have Doom Train. Doom Train is gonna lower his super high defense to nothing. Ah, the Doom Train's coming! Doom Train's coming. I could have, because I have magic unlocked, I could have just cast Meltdown on him, but any chance to summon Doom Train is worth it. Plus, it does a little bit of damage to him. I don't think it inflicts any other status effects on him. And he tries to counterattack with a charge. Doesn't work too well. And that's how you know the fight is ended. He always ends the fight with a parting gift of Ultima on everyone. So yeah, he has really high defense, but not a lot of HP. So once you drop his vitality down to 0 with Doom Train or Meltdown, he just falls over. Just like that. Oh, he shatters into, crystalline dust. Nice touch, nice touch. Okay, so that's the first 3 bosses of Ultimecia's castle down. And... let's see, item. Yeah, item sounds like a pretty good option to unlock. So we have magic back, we have Guardian Forces back, and we have item back. Really, now, the big ones that I want are save and resurrection, I guess, because, yeah, some party members can die coming up. A rare sight in this playthrough, indeed. Dead party members. I think the last time, well, that was against the Ruby Dragons, but I killed them off intentionally. Where is the path around from the balcony? Was getting caught up on, I guess, the ledge. So there's a switch point here, also a rope in the background. That's not going to be important yet. It's very important later on. Instead, though, we come down to the art gallery. The title is a little bit too faint to read. This is an enormous puzzle room with, an unprecedented puzzle for this game. A really complicated one, if you think about it. So you go around and you look at every single painting. There are, I think, 8 in total. You look at the names of all the paintings, and then you look from the second floor of the room down at the clock that you can kind of barely see it from the first floor. You'll get a better view from the top. And you look at the clock for a clue. The clock is pointing at 3 different numbers on the floor, and they're all in Roman numerals. There's 8, which is VIII. There's the incorrect Roman numeral for 4, III, and 6, VI. And you match those letters to the painting titles, which we'll see in just a second. Venus, not one of the ones for the puzzle. And then the deal is, you want to go back to the painting, which the name was too faint to read, and you fill it in based on those the clues from the painting, the other painting titles, and the clock. Red clothes. Zistis? Sistis? There are a couple more upstairs. That one is pretty cool. Cowardice. And then on the right side of the balcony, there are a couple of more paintings. I think there's just this one and maybe one other one. Vividarium Garden. That actually is one of the ones. So yeah, you get a better look at him down there. It's, yeah, the incorrect Roman numeral for 4, plus 8 and 6. 4, 6, 8. So again, the letters that we're looking for are a title with 4 I's, one with a V and an I, and then VII. And so the title of this painting is Vividarium Inter Vigilium Viator. Inter Vigilium? It sounds like it should be Inter Vigilum, like vigilance. In the garden sleeps a messenger is what that translates to. And that's what summons the boss. Not in a garden, in an art gallery. Yeah, that in the garden sleeps a messenger thing, I think it's supposed to be Latin, but it's not. Because most of those are Greek or misspelled Latin. Also, the Roman numerals on the clock face aren't quite right, which turns this into an awesome puzzle into kind of a confusing clusterfuck. Trauma, though, this boss, way less interesting than any of that. All he does is create an endless supply of drones. He is, again, pretty high defense. Yeah, and if there are too many drones out at a time, they will spam a really, really devastating attack at you. But he's not going to survive long enough to summon any of his drones. And we're done with him. So with the first 4 out of the way, I think we have a little bit of running around to do down here in the castle. What do I want? Limit break would be really good, actually. Forgot about that one. Save too, though. Just in case. I can live without limit break for a little bit, but if something should happen and I can't save coming up, that would not be fun. Okay, this is a room you're gonna see a bunch of times. At least twice. I can't remember how many times I come back here. It's a few, though. So coming in here, you get locked inside. You take the key, and that summons the 5th boss, the Red Giant. This is just the boss variation of the blue giant enemy. He has really high defense. Again, common theme among the last couple of bosses. So yeah, Doom Train, Meltdown, that'll get the job done. He also hates Demi, and he hates Diablo, and he will react in panic if you use them. He'll actually, like, say, oh god, no. But I'm gonna summon Eden for the first time. What the? That's... okay. The frame rate's dropped to like 5 or less. That's gotta be a glitch in the Steam version. Yeah, and it's back up again. Eden has the most drawn out, longest animation. There it is again. Uses the longest animation out of any Guardian Force, and it lets you boost him to maximum, which is 250. The input lag, while it's lagging like this, is really bad, and it's making me think that I'm gonna end up resetting this by accident. Oh god, this is horrible. I'm never summoning Eden again. Why is it like this? Oh, you know what? I read about this. The Steam version of the game, for some reason, has some issue with, like, occasional motion blurring effects, and it's not something that comes up that often, but it comes up during Eden's animation. I think it comes up again during the end of the game. I hope it doesn't do this again during the ending cinematic, or not the cinematic, but the ending sequence. Ugh. Okay, we're maxed out. You can see it doesn't go higher than 250. And we also have Cactar coming in, because I can't remember if I've shown Cactar off either. If he survives this, he might not. Eden is a special Guardian Force in that he did 17,000 damage. He breaks the damage limit. That Guardian Force is a waste of time, even though I think he just put Red Giant near death. Yeah, every time you do something, he'll mock you, or if you summon Diablo or cast Demi, he'll go, oh my god, Diablo, the end is nigh. Or something like that. 2,000 damage. And physical attacks useless. That's fine. We got Doom Train coming in. He'll knock his defense right on down. We're gonna see Doom Train and Meltdown a bunch. Just helps you max damage because of Fight Zero. And like I just said, any opportunity to summon Doom Train is worth taking. Whoop whoop! Doom Train coming through. Oh wow, that did nothing to him. Would have been funny if that's what finished him though. Are we gonna... no, we're not gonna see Bahamut yet, are we? Auto-hasted Squall. Too strong. We'll see Bahamut eventually. Next fight, I think I'll summon him. I'll try to remember. One way or another, Bahamut will get shown off. So close. All the bosses in Ultimecia's castle get that special death animation. It's pretty cool. Even though a lot of them are just glorified, bigger versions of other enemies. Like the Red Giant there. Actually, no, that's not true. Some of them are, but most of them have unique mechanics and unique designs. The Red Giant's a palette swap, but I don't think most of them are. Yeah, I take that back. Actually, wait a minute. No, there's nothing else I can do in here for now. The door on the left side of the room is a shortcut later on. But for now, this is nothing. And then... let's see, I think this is the last time I need to be back there, but this dungeon, or this cellar, whatever it is, there's a couple of occasions where I'm gonna have to come back there. I don't want to switch just yet, I don't think. So we'll double back through the art gallery and back to the main room. There are a couple of routes I can go from here. I think I know what I want to do, though. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to head out here and... let's see, I can go left to a new area, or I can come back out to the room where we found the wine cellar and I can progress forward from there. And there's something that I want to pick up back in the room just ahead of the wine cellar room. Yeah, we haven't gone through those double doors at the front of the room yet. There are a couple of routes you can go through the dungeon. And there's something really well hidden out here. No, again, there's an invisible treasure vault key right here. And then, let's see, there's also, to the right, there's an area that we can't do anything with yet. In front of me, there's the organ room. Do I want to just go take care of the stuff in the organ room now? Probably should have decided on all this ahead of time. Yeah, I think I'll go mess with the organ room real quick. Yeah. So, forward we go ahead of the fountain. That's... oh, right. I don't have drawing unlocked yet. Not that it matters. I don't think it's anything special. It might be stop. I've been wrong about the draw points more often than I've been right, though. So you can come over here to the pipe organ, and those are all the face buttons. This might seem like a puzzle, do, re, mi, fa. It's not, though. You hit all of the buttons all at once, and it lifts an iron gate to the right of the room we just came from with the fountain. But that room is still flooded, so there's nothing we can do about that yet. So we'll come upstairs instead. Because there's another key up here. We got the treasure vault key. I think you can reach that key before it falls. But where it falls... oh, I don't want to come in here yet. Where that key just fell is back in the dungeon. Actually, what does this ladder lead down to? I don't remember if this leads to anything. I'll check it out, though. Just try to show off as much of Ultimecia's castle as possible. No, this does not appear to go anywhere. Just a ledge. Yeah, we have to drain the water before we can do anything in this room. And the key that just dropped down to the dungeon area was the floodgate key. So we have a treasure vault key, and when we go back to the dungeon, we'll get the floodgate key and we can clear the water out. So I can go do that, or I can go use the treasure vault key. The treasure vault, I believe, is completely optional. Which, fair enough. They made the key fucking invisible. Better be optional. I don't know how you would just stumble upon that without using a guide, without knowing that it's there ahead of time. Oh, no, I'm getting stuck on a column, trying to get back to the shortcut. The music in Ultimecia's castle, not as imposing and scary and dark as you might think. It's kind of lighthearted, actually. It sounds like something that would fit really well into like the early portions of FF9. Yeah, so I think what I'll do is, instead of going left to use the treasure vault key, I'll come out here. And we'll go pick the floodgate key up, and we'll take care of that and be done with that room. And through the art gallery, and it's... right, it's down from here. And then you can see there's another path that goes off to the left. There's a save point along that path. Yeah, this key actually, you can see it. It shimmers in the water. So yeah, you get the floodgate key. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's the armory key. Where is the floodgate key now? Is it in here? I don't remember. I'll pick it up along the way. This leads out to a boss, though. Right, I thought that was the floodgate key. Anyway. We'll get that eventually. This is the Gargantua and Visage boss fight. These are normal enemies, usually, but there's a special twist to the fight. Oh, that's gonna be a pun in a second, a twist to the fight. I always thought this was kind of a cool fight. It also used to really give me a counter twist. There we go. It also used to give me a lot of trouble when I was a kid, because I would come into this place really under-prepared, and counter twist would wreck me. It's cool that it starts with the sunken parts, the visage, and the head, and then it rises out of the ground, and then whenever you attack him, he spams counter twist at you. But with enough HP, that counter attack is trivial. The other thing he does that's kind of annoying is he can curse you and slow you. That's the attack, Evil Eye. Oh, it curses everyone and slows everyone. What a pain in the ass that is. Yeah. I don't think I have Limit Break back yet anyway, do I? No, it wouldn't let me select Renzo if I didn't. Yeah. Right. Okay, yeah. No. I'm having brain farts. That's what several hours of recording will get you. Blasting Zone. We haven't seen this one yet. I think this is the really cool one. Yeah. The beam of light that extends into outer space. And he just brings this whole huge wave of energy down for minimal amounts of damage. And that's it for Gargantua. I really thought I unlocked something else other than Limit Break. The sound they make as they crumble. Oh, that's the best part. We still haven't seen Lionheart yet, though, which is a shame because it might actually not show up. Yeah, so Resurrection next, and then Command and Draw. Not high on my priority list. I've done enough drawing for one playthrough. The blood in this room, the green blood in the background used to be red. It's green only for the English version. They have a weird bit of censorship. So yeah, we will be back in that room in a little bit. So we will come on over here. And we'll get a save point. For the first time in a while. If you ever really need to save, you can step outside the castle. And you can use the save point directly outside. You're not locked into the castle. Oh, right, we have this little elevator puzzle to do now. So, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk this party back down out here. And do I actually have to have them go? Yeah, I do. I actually have to get them to go all the way around to the left, I think. Oh, there's going to be a little bit of running around here. Oh, where is it? So, I want to bring them around to, I believe, the left side of the second floor. And then, we will be good to go. This is also where you use the treasure vault key. Oh, wait, no, that's just ahead, I think. Yeah, it's the room, like, directly ahead. So, I think I'll actually go do that first. Go take care of this real quick. Use the treasure vault key. Cool. And here you get kind of a little easily brute force puzzle, box opening puzzle. You do 4, 1, hidden draw point, 3, and then this one opens all of them, and that's what summons the boss from the mist. Did I say boss? Boss from the mist. And he is an oversized behemoth, basically. He's a nothing boss. He is probably the least interesting one since the Sphinx at the beginning of the dungeon. Yeah, he uses kind of weak thunder magic that doesn't do much. He is a little bit harder in the Japanese version because his max level is 100 instead of the English version, where his max level is in like the mid-50s. Thundaga. He doesn't quite have the crazy high defense of some of the previous bosses, which you wouldn't expect given how big and beefy he looks. Oh, he also uses Meteor. I didn't know that. I think he usually doesn't survive whenever I fight him long enough to use it. Let's see how much damage he does. Oh, that's not bad damage. It's gonna be like the last time he gets to do that much, but it's not bad. Oh, it's his, ending blow. A little parting gift at the end of the fight. So, we have, what, one more of these left to go in Ultimecia's castle, one more of these little bosses to get our powers back. Yeah. Then it's just the optional super boss, along with Ultimecia herself. There's still a decent amount, despite that, left to see in the castle. Yeah, I don't really have any command ability, so it's not worth unlocking that until the final one. Yeah, I don't have Doom or Darkside or anything like that. Right, this leads up to the bottom floor of the elevator room. So I'm gonna take my party and go back outside the way we came in. And I'm gonna use this party switch point to switch over to Quistis's team. And again, we'll give her Irvine, sorry, Quistis is on the A team. Give the B team Encounter None so they can get over there. And I have to remember the order you're supposed to do this elevator puzzle in. It's mostly pretty simple, but I can screw this up. Watch. In fact, I think I already have. I think I'm supposed to have the A team on the other side. So there might be a little bit more running around to do in here. Yeah. But it's fine. Everything's... It seems a little bit bigger than it is. Everything's relatively condensed in here. Yeah, we'll place them... Yeah, I should have had them. The A team in a different place. It doesn't matter. So we'll place the B team here at the bottom of the elevator, where there's a convenient switch point, and then we'll switch back to the A team one more time. We're almost done with the switching back and forth. We have a few things to do left with the switching puzzles. So now I want to bring this team. I should have done this in the first place before I came to the treasure vault and just fought the Behemoth with the B team or something. Would have saved me a little bit of time. We'll take this party back through the second floor, through the art gallery. And you saw where the upper half, how to get to the upper half of the elevator room before when I stumbled in there. And so we're gonna use the weight from this team to pull the other team up so that... Right, that's where you get the floodgate key. Now I'm remembering what that broom is for. Right, this is a totally optional puzzle, and it's just to get the floodgate key. I knew I wanted to do this, I just didn't remember why until now. So before we do that, though, I'll save in case I mess something up. And you can see there's a Chocobo World save file now. I haven't played Chocobo World yet. Might do that at the end of this, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can use Boko the Chocobo in Chocobo World and then import his stuff into your main save file. Okay, that lets them get across. You switch one more time, and they can run into this room where there's a shimmering floodgate key. And luckily their inventories, both teams' inventories are shared, so even though they picked the key up, we'll switch back over to Squall's A-team, and they have the floodgate key. By the way, you can switch your party members around, but they have to be in the same place to do it, if I wanted to. So we'll take Squall's team again back out. And no, don't want to use it. It activates whenever you step over it. And now there's a little bit more running around the castle to take care of. This time, we're heading back to the dungeon one last time. I knew it was more than twice that I would be in there. Actually, wait, what am I doing? That's towards Krista. That's the only time we go up there, through that middle door on the second floor. And that balcony is always hard to navigate for no reason. Let's skirt around the switch point so the message doesn't pop up again. And through the art gallery to the dungeon. I call it the dungeon, I don't know what it's supposed to be. Aside from that, yeah, there's a skeleton hanging up with a key in the other room, so yeah. Dungeon! Now, if I can make my way over to this locked lever... Damn it. Everything, like, collision, it's so wonky here. Yeah, we can use the key and then pull the lever, and the floodwaters are drained. Which means that area to the right of the fountain, that's something that we actually have access to now. And for that really long optional digression, we get a Rosetta Stone there. And also a shortcut back into the dungeon, so now everything is interconnected. Or everything will be once we go out there. Which I'm actually gonna do right now, I think, because there really isn't much left to do. In fact, that's the only path to keep going forward. So there's the optional Rosetta Stone, there's going to be an optional super boss, which many of you have probably been looking forward to if you're familiar with FF8, and the reputation of that particular boss. And after that, we can head up towards Ultimecia by climbing that long winding staircase at the clock tower. So we come through here. We're back at the fountain before I switch over to the B party members and start making preparations for the super boss. Now that the water's drained, and before we went into the pipe organ room and mashed all of the keys at once, that gate lifted up. So now we can come over here, and this is the shortcut back into the dungeon. Not the Rosetta Stone. Cool. Okay, the lock disengages automatically once you step through, so now we have a path backwards, and a Rosetta Stone. So, who do I want to use that on? Squall has Bahamut Junction to him, so Squall has his ability ×4. Quistis. So, who are... Doomtrain, I'll give Doomtrain the Rosetta Stone, and then he will have ability ×4, and so will Quistis. There it is. So you can get all of your 3 main party members' ability ×4 if you want by the end of the game. Even way sooner than this, actually. By time you get to Esther, you can actually have that for all of them. No, never mind, because you have to have ability ×4 from Bahamut. But as soon as you get Bahamut, all of them can have it, because there's the really hard to get Rosetta Stone back in D District Prison that I didn't bother for, because it's so fucking annoyingly random. You know, before I fight Omega Weapon, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head up here, defeat Tiamat and unlock my final power, and then move on ahead and save, and then double back. Mostly just because I'm being a little bit paranoid. I just want to get that all out of the way before we proceed with the Omega Weapon fight. The climb to the top here. This enormous clock tower. There's, as you might imagine for a time compression obsessed sorceress, there's a clock motif in this dungeon. There are 3 clocks around. We've seen 2 of them so far, and then the third one is outside of this clock tower. We'll see as we approach Ultimecia later. Oh yeah, heal up real quick. And you use the bell to swing across. Oh, the bell is above us. That perspective. The bell was like on a floor directly above us. Yeah, we'll swing across on this, and that leads out to the final boss fight, the final boss fight of its kind in Ultimecia's castle. Right away, Tiamat looks like Bahamut, and Tiamat kind of mirrors Bahamut. Bahamut's signature attack is Mega Flare, Tiamat's is Dark Flare, and Tiamat was once a Guardian Force like Bahamut before Ultimecia got her hands on him. Dark Flare. But before he can get that out, we'll cast Mega Flare with Bahamut. I'm sure I'm annoying some people the way I'm pronouncing Bahamut. I think it's supposed to be Bahamut. I've always said Bahamut. Yeah! Comes out of the clouds like a battleship. And Mega Flare from the King of the Guardian Forces. You might expect that he would break the damage limit just like Eden and do enormous amounts of damage, but actually he only did 3,000. That's a little anticlimactic. Still though, Bahamut's too cool. Too cool for Tiamat. Wonder if Tiamat's gonna get a chance to use his Dark Flare. There it is! Yeah. I think the animation is even pretty similar to Mega Flare. Not as long and elaborate, but I don't know, it's only one projectile. It is kind of a similar explosion. That was... Woo! I didn't see that one coming. We're gonna finish him off with a Renzo. Wow! One of these bosses is actually kind of threatening. That did a whole lot of damage. I was not expecting that, actually. The Renzo was enough, though. Yeah, Tiamat is a proper boss fight, apparently. Forgot about you. Killed Quistis and Zell. Again, a rare sight in this playthrough. Not many party member deaths. No game over so far, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna go make my preparations for Omega Weapon, and then we will get going. See you in a sec. So I have the B team down in this room before the art gallery. They are going to, as soon as I switch my junctions back to Quistis, switch my junctions around, they are going to ring this bell. That's going to start a time limit. I'm going to use the switch pad. I have 60 seconds from the time I ring the bell to get my A-team into the organ room. They're currently sitting outside of that switch point by the fountain, so the time limit is really not bad at all. And you can see, this is what I'm working with for this upcoming Omega Weapon fight. These are my preparations going in. HP plus 80% so I can max Squall's HP out. Quistis is also maxed. I'm swapping Irvine in for a reason which will become apparent in a second. Irvine is still not going to survive very long because I screwed my junctions up and he doesn't have max health, so it's kind of a wash there. Here's the thing though. I only need him to do one thing against Omega Weapon coming up. Omega Weapon is the hardest fight in the game, so these are the special preparations I've made. I'm not going to cheese him with heroes and holy wars to make myself invincible. Why don't you want to fight me, man? There we go. So, he has a fixed attack pattern that you need to know very well to deal with him. He will start the fight off casting level 5 death on everyone. If your character's levels are multiples of 5, you will die unless you have status defense junctioned to death. That's why Irvine's here, because his level is not a multiple of 5. Next up, Omega Weapon is going to cast Meteor to soften you up. Heal it immediately, because his next attack is Megiddo Flame, which deals 8 damage. It will leave you with just 1 HP if you're maxed out and fully healed. Again, I messed my junctions up, so Irvine is not going to survive that. That's fine. His only job was to cast Meltdown. Quistis's was to cast Aura on Squall so he could start the fight with a Lionheart! Oh yeah! This is the strongest limit break Squall has, and it's the one you get for crafting his final weapon. Hey! That does like 16 max damage hits or something. It is an enormous amount of damage. So that's good. And then Quistis' only other purpose in this fight is to spam Mega Elixirs, because as hard as that hit, it wasn't enough to finish him. So after he uses Megiddo Flame, he's gonna cast Gravija, which drains 75% of your HP. It can't kill you though, so it's fine. We're gonna get another Renzo off. Squall is gonna Renzo for dear life. I would like to finish this fight off before Terra Break, because that is the bad attack. It's gonna come after Gravija. It's also his most dangerous attack. So we'll get another Renzo off. He's just now getting around to Meteor, actually. Not bad. So it goes level 5 Death, Meteor, Megiddo Flame, Gravija, Terra Break. Terra Break hits for about 4,000 damage a hit, and it hits 16 times. That's 64,000 HP versus a party total of 30,000. With Protect, you cut that damage in half, and so you need some combination of Protect, and he's dead. I didn't see that coming. I've never done that before. It's mostly because of the Lionheart, but even when I use Irvine's Pulse Ammo Limit Break and Zell's Duel Limit Break, I've still never killed him before Megiddo Flame. I usually kill him before Terra Break, never before Megiddo Flame. What a goddamn chump boss he looks like now. I'm talking him up and he dies before his second most dangerous attack. Wow, Jesus Christ. And if you go into tutorial, and where is it? Information, maybe? Proof of Omega. Congratulations! You defeated the world's strongest monster in a way that made him look extremely weak. That was... what an anticlimax that was! So anyway, Terra Break hits for 64,000 damage across your whole party. So you need some combination to Protect, Zombie, and the Defend command to survive it, or you need Invincibility, which is what I was going to fall back on if the fight managed to last that long. Yeah, the goal was to end that before Terra Break was cast at all, but apparently I went a little bit overboard in my squashing of Omega Weapon. The other thing you can do to survive it is you can start summoning a Guardian Force and let the Guardian Force die for you and sack it. Then he casts Ultima, which is just huge party-wide damage, and then he casts Light Pillar, which kills one party member. And then he repeats that whole sequence starting from Meteor. And he does physical attacks between. It's, if you don't land a Lionheart, or if you're doing that without, like, being really, really prepared, and you're doing that, I guess, the normal way, the way without crazy high damage limit breaks that annihilate him, like Zell's, Irvine's, or Squall's Lionheart, that's a really intense fight. Yeah. I prefer his FF6 design, though. I like his FF6 design. It's a lot more monstrous. And his design in 10, too. This one is just like a silver and blue palette swap of Ultima Weapon, which still looks cool, it's just not as bad. Also, part of what made that so easy is I'm a low level, and again, everything scales. So, my average party level is like around 15 or 20 or so. So he didn't have much HP to survive that in the first place. At level 90, he has over 1 million HP. So, that is out of the way. That's every boss in Ultimecia's castle clear. That's all of the optional items you can find here. Well, just the Rosetta Stone, the important one. And the hardest boss in the game, the super boss fight, Omega Weapon, taken care of. We have only one thing left to do in Ultimacia's castle, and that is to go and fight Ultimecia herself. So I'm taking the B team up there to swap out Irvine for Zell, first of all, because I want Zell with me. Not that it matters. Part of the mechanics of the Ultimecia fight, she'll choose 3 random party members to fight at the start of it, and then, well, you'll see. When one of your party members gets knocked out, they get absorbed into time and replaced with another random party member, so you don't really have much of a choice about who you use to fight Ultimecia. So I'm kinda gambling, actually, with the fact that I am not preparing the B team for this at all. As long as I have any one of the A team, it's fine, because they have enough HP and damage to do anything that I need them to do in the final fight. If, though, she chooses Irvine, Renoa, and Selfie all at once, it's gonna get real messy real quick, because none of them are set up for the fight, or for any fight, and I have no intention of setting them up, so I'm rolling the dice. Maybe she'll choose all of the B team, and it will wind up being a harder fight than Omega Weapon. You know, Ultima Weapon, without landing the Lionheart on Ultima Weapon, yeah, I have to say Ultima was the harder of the two weapons. Man, I hope you're not let down by how badly I fucking murdered Omega Weapon. The ascent up the clock tower is always nice. Nice build to the dramatic climax of the game. This time we don't have to swing across, though. We just keep going right up to something that you didn't see before, which is the internal gears turning in the clock tower, the Great Mouse detective style. And then outside, the hands are pointing to 8 and 3. Kind of a little important detail. I love that it's stopped, though. This giant clock face overlooking Ultimecia's arena. Great punctuation to put on that recurring motif in this dungeon. And the climb down. The whole build to this moment's excellent. And it's this long walk without a single camera shift right up until the end of it. Ominous. So I'm gonna save real quick, and I'm also gonna get my other party down here and set everything up for the final fight, so I will be back again in a second. Gotta change some things out. Okay, I had some special preparations I made for Omega Weapon, so I've changed things back to how they normally would be. You can see everything that I've junctioned, how I prepared for this. Pain on status defense, Meteor Ultima Meltdown, triple full life, all that good stuff. I'm still gonna keep his maxed out health, actually. We're ready for this final fight. Everything's been building to here, and this is our point of no return. We step through the doors and confront Ultimecia. What a goddamn great shot that is! Her sitting regally like the badass of all badasses on her throne, elevated above all 6 party members, staring up at her. I don't know what's with this little idiosyncrasy of hers, the speech pattern of replacing C's with K's, time compression, curse you seeds. Her dialogue is way different in the Japanese version. I'll post a link to all the translations. I don't remember the specifics of it. I know I talked about this in a different episode, but yeah, the localization in the English version of FF8 is pretty fucked up. Okay, so she chose 2 members of the A-team. Not Squall, though, so... let's see. I'm gonna let her kill off Irvine whenever she wants. I'm not gonna bother healing him, I don't think. I might just heal with a Mega Elixir and he'll get the benefit of that. So that Maelstrom attack she starts off with reduces your HP by 62.5%, and it curses everyone. You can negate curse, though, by casting Aura. Other than that, she doesn't really do anything too special. Just a bit of high-level AoE magic. Irvine's dead. That's fine. That's exactly what I want. We will use the hell out of the Punch Rush Booyah combo. And we have a nice long timer to work with. I'm not gonna input as fast as I can, because this will make this limit break take forever. I'll do it, I'll get enough hits to definitely overkill her first form, though, off of this. Yeah, so the big thing is just keep someone around to use Mega Elixirs or Quistis with White Wind and Aura. Meltdowns, auras all around, triple if you want. Basically healer, brawler combo. And she initiates her second form by summoning the most powerful Guardian Force, who is revealed to be none other... I'm bad at this timing stuff. Oh, the dramatic tension's ruined. It's revealed to be none other than a very familiar-looking lion, Griever. We'll go right into this with a Mega Elixir, get us back up to full health. Ooh, he starts off with triple. Zell will start off with his broken dual Punch Rush Booyah combo. And I'll end this one with one of his other cool attacks. He hasn't really learned any... that's something I regret, is I neglected to really teach him more of his finishing moves. A lot of his finishing moves, like the Dolphin Blow and stuff, My Final Heaven, they're all based on Tifa's attacks from FF7. But not all of them, but a lot of them are callbacks. Yeah, Griever's not surviving this, I don't think. We'll end this with one of his cool finishers we haven't seen yet. Probably, let's see. Probably should do this now. Meteor Strike. I'll do that next time. So that is down circle, up circle. Okay. I've never seen this hit. I don't think it can hit bosses. There's one where he just brings a giant meteorite crashing down. Hold on. Okay, yeah. I just wanted to shut up for that because I love the beginning of that theme so much. Whenever you do enough damage to finish the fight, Griever casts the Shockwave Pulsar, which is also the name of Quistis' final limit break that I didn't get to teach her. And it does a pretty huge amount of damage. This theme is awesome, by the way. The beginning of it and this part of the middle. Yeah, that ends the Griever phase of the fight, and he curls up into a little morph ball. Actually, like that, he looks like Osmos from 9. I shall junction myself onto Griever. So phase 3 begins with Ultimecia junctioning herself onto Griever to create this amazing looking, like, lioness tank form of her. You'll see what I mean in a second. It's super cool looking. Yeah! Oh, that's cool. Yeah. It's like she's piloting this huge organic lion tank. Which we will also finish off with a duel. This is kind of why I wish Squall was alive, because Renzo is just faster to use to finish fights. This phase is pretty similar to a combination of phase 1 and 2. There's something... Oh, I got a long time limit for this one, too. This music kind of sounds like a Mortal Kombat theme a little bit. Mortal Kombat 2. There's something pretty important that Griever can do starting from phase 2. He can draw cast magic from your supply and waste your magic. He can also remove your stocks of magic entirely. Like, he can decide to remove all 100 of your full lives and kill your HP. It doesn't matter if you have that magic junctioned, he can just remove the full stock of it. That always misses, which is a shame because it's cool, so I'll use Heal Drop instead. Yeah! Okay. Thus ends phase 3 with Ultimecia's offense and Griever's offense to a minimum. Because I really don't want him removing my HP. Actually, no, that only killed the lower half. I forgot about this. Yeah, there's still the upper half remaining, just a floating torso. Still pretty fierce looking. Finally, little naked cherub comes to absorb dead Irvine into time and replace him with another random party member. Please be Squall. Oh, why? Another worthless B-teamer, Selfie. Nah. You're not that bad, Selfie. Just not useful for this. Whoa, the frame rate again. Yeah, it has to have something to do with the motion blurring effect that just kills the frame rate in the PC version for no discernible reason. That's, yeah, it has... Oh, you know what? Her face, that close-up there, she looks a little bit like Raggio. Yeah, this has nothing to do with, my rig. This is, something that is I didn't even know about this. Unfortunately, a really big issue with the PC version at the end of the game. But it's just in these, like, in this final moment and with Eden's animation. This hasn't occurred at all throughout the rest of the game, which makes it all the more baffling. Actually, it looks kind of cool here, though, because of the ghosting. Like, right in this exact moment, aside from the falling particles, it almost looks intentional. But it's not. It's not supposed to be like this. That's a shitty way to end things with a glitch that big. How did this make it... How did this get released like this? Ah. Oh, well, it's not gonna comprise too much of a major part. Well, yeah, there is the rest of the ending, too, in which I think this is probably gonna happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen, like, mid-fight, though. Oh, and we're back to full speed. So, 3 forms of Ultimecia might seem like enough, especially, you know, games usually following the rule of 3s. But no. Also, have we lost all sound forever? That might also be a pretty bad glitch. Oh no, just cuts back in to this great ending theme. I love somber piano themes for end bosses. Like, remember how well that worked for Gwyn at the end of Dark Souls? Yeah. All existence denied. So she's absorbing all of time into herself. That's also really cool. The lower half hanging off of the like, hollow torso. Well, I always like to see that. They did it with Anima in 10, where you have the lower half of Anima hanging off of the torso. That alone makes me want to play 10 again. Anima's so fucking sick. Ooh, Hell's Judgment's nasty. It reduces everybody's HP to 1. Luckily, Megalixir that away. And then we switch music entirely to what sounds a little bit like the FF9 battle theme. With the bass line. Yeah, Punch Rush, Booyah. You've seen this one before. Ultimecia, though, has a lot more HP in this form than any of the other forms in this fight, so she might actually stand a pretty good chance of surviving, especially with a low time limit to do these. So I might step it up a little bit and do these a bit quicker. Yeah, you can get several of these off every second if you're really quick. So we've seen Hell's Judgment, that's pretty nasty. You just heal up through it, though. The other major thing she does in this phase is she can draw and cast a spell called Apocalypse from her lower half. Her lower half, by the way, is killable to prevent that from happening. Just gonna use Hell's Judgment again, so Quistis is around just to use Megalixirs and heal up from Hell's Judgment. And Selfie is around to do nothing but hopefully die soon enough. I suspect that she is, in fact, I'm gonna kill her. I suspect that I won't get Squall in time to shorten this fight a bit. There she goes, drawing Apocalypse from her lower half. So she is gonna get at least one cast of this off, but luckily it's not too bad. It's totally survivable. It's just, I think it's like a higher damage version of Ultima. I don't think it's actually that... There's no gimmick attached to it, it's just a bunch of damage, I think. Cool little animation, though. And surprisingly, she's not on to the next part of the fight yet, even after Zell's limit break. Yeah, it just does a huge amount of damage. Nothing else, though. It's not like Maelstrom in the first phase, where it does a percentage of your HP and curses you or anything. So we'll just, there's no reason to heal up at that point, because the only other thing she's gonna do is cast Hell's Judgment, and that takes you down to 1 HP no matter what your current HP is. So this should trigger the next part of the fight. I hope. Otherwise, this is gonna last for a fair bit. Punch Rush. I'm not gonna get that last one in, though. Yeah. Could speed this up just slightly if I had Quistis doing, 3-4K a hit. Oh! It actually absorbed Selfie into time a little bit quicker this time. Come on, Squall. It'd be nice to end this off with a full A-team. Can't escape from this. Ah, Rinoa. Rinoa's fine too. It's pretty appropriate for Rinoa to be here at the end. You might have noticed, especially in Ultimecia's first form, she has some particular similarities physically to Rinoa. I like this camera angle a lot. She kind of mirrors Rinoa for possible plot reasons. So, Rinoa has black hair, Ultimecia has silver hair. It's the good versus evil thing, which, that's not as significant if you take it in a vacuum. She has black wings, Rinoa has white wings, and there are some other physical similarities there too. Oh, right, the wings thing. If you haven't seen them by now, Rinoa has white angelic wings painted on the back of her dress. Her hair is usually obscuring them, but you can see as her hair kind of waves around at some points, you can actually see the wings on the back of her dress. Yeah, there are a couple of particular similarities between Rinoa and Ultimecia that might be significant. I'll talk about that, I guess, while the credits roll or while the end FMV plays. There we go. Reflect on your childhood. Once you get to this point in the fight, all you need to do is physically attack her, and every attack she takes triggers the next line of dialogue. She's gonna draw this out with a meteor, though. Not too bad. It's annoying when she chain casts Hell's Judgment, because you always have to heal up after it just to be prepared for something like this. When she's just using meteor or bullshit spells, though, it's no problem. You don't have to be prepared to heal after that, because it does so little. So yeah, you hit her, your sensation, your words, your emotions. Hit her again, another line of dialogue. Time, it will not wait. And Rinoa's being absorbed into time now. Okay, it's gonna be Squall this time. We went through all the jobbers on the B team. Yeah. Good time to show up, Squall, to end this fight. Guess it'll speed it up a little bit. No matter how hard you hold on, it escapes you. Great way to end the fight. Not with anything challenging. We've been through all that. We've been through the hard part of the fight. Now it's just getting her into her death throes. And her massive motion blur caused frame rate dips. Ugh. That's shameful display. I might just, if I can find some decent quality, insert an actual video of the ending the way it's supposed to be over this one, while I blabber on about how the ending plays out. I don't know. It's a little bit of a bummer. And the other problem is, I'm not sure if this is going to last the entire ending or not. But she seems to have failed. She's been absorbing all of time into her body, but it seems like it's going to come exploding out of her. She did achieve time compression in a really limited sense, but it also turned out to be her undoing. Oh man, this another similarity to Anima. Her lower half even has her arms crossed in the same way that Anima does. That bug wouldn't quite be so bad if it wasn't for the sound cutting out, because the sound is playing normally, I think. And everyone just wakes up in this white void, this timeless purgatory. Wondering, is it over? Is that it? Let's go back to our time. This ending is haunting. It's a really chilling ending. It's not, like, upbeat and happy at all. It's not like, yay, we did it. We worked together, friendship and love, and we conquered the evil sorceress from the future. It's kind of surreal, dreamlike, trippy, and a bit somber. This horrible purgatory. Everyone running around, not being able to find each other. Renoa wants to go there, where Squall and she promised. Yeah, they did make that vow to each other that if they couldn't find each other, if they were separated, they would meet back at the Field of Flowers in Adia's orphanage. So we've seen everyone else. We've seen Irvine and Selphie and Quistis and Zell and Renoa, but no Squall yet. Instead, he's in a darker purgatory. Whereas everyone else is running around in this white abyss, he's running around in pure black. And he can't find any of them. All of the other ones were, even though they were running around, they were still on screen with each other. But not Squall. He's separated from everyone else, and his whole thing throughout the game has been, he's been terrified of leaving himself open and vulnerable, only to be abandoned. He's had abandonment issues flowing through the whole plot. And now he's alone again. Just like he feared would happen. But this time, he is his younger self and he sees Adia. The boy won't go anywhere. And I think this is kind of a symbolic representation of Squall coming to terms with those abandonment issues, him growing up finally. Oh no, it's Ultimecia! Yeah, she is still alive. And Adia recognizes her as a sorceress, which is weird because she's from the future and we are currently in the past when Adia was still the matron of the orphanage. But Adia tells Squall, no worries, no more need to fight. Like, what? She's looking for someone to pass her powers on to. This timeline trips me up. So, it kind of implies that Adia was only a sorceress because we defeated Ultimecia, who went back in time and gave Adia her sorceress powers, but then Ultimecia was able to possess Adia from the future because Adia was already a sorceress, and yeah, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey bullshit. Whatever. Whenever time travel's involved, I immediately just shut down and go, yeah, don't care anymore. Once those kind of plot holes are opened up with time travel, it's like, this is not avoidable. You can't write a time travel story without this shit. I would prefer it not ending with that, because the time travel up until now, while being really obtuse, hasn't quite created these kinds of issues. Even though there's been time travel, they still kind of portray time as linear. Just being able to move back and forth from past to future. But now, everything's out the window. We are our own grandpas. Oh my god, Squall is Adia's grandfather. Wait a minute, that could, aside from the fact that Squall's younger. That could totally work. Squall is his own grandfather. And, young Squall is telling Adel he can't find his sister, wondering if he's all alone. A problem which his future self seems to have finally resolved. Even though, yeah, he kind of is alone now. He's gonna keep searching. And even Adel is telling him he doesn't belong here, go back to his own time. The only Squall permitted here is you. Do you know where to go back to? Do you know how? Layers in these questions. Oh, the salutes! Yeah, I'll be alright. Yeah, he's dealt with his issues, and he's gonna go back to where he belongs and find all of his friends. Because I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And then they ruin it with this! No, I'm sorry. If I call out, they will answer. And then they ruin it with this! No, still no. Where is everyone? Here we go. He resolves his internal conflict, and then he goes right back to doubting. Am I alone? You just had this figured out a second ago. So the entire arc of FF8 is pretty much about Squall's character arc. Can't make it back alone. So, while the ending plays out, let's talk theories. First up, like I hinted at earlier, in the playthrough that is, someone put together a pretty elaborate theory that FF3 and FF8 are the same world. And this is based on the geography of the world map being pretty similar. It's based on the fact that the Deep Sea Research Center is in the exact same position as the floating continent in FF3, and only one person in FF3 knew how to keep that continent afloat, so it may have fallen into the ocean and sunk, and that's what the researchers at the research center were looking into. And that continent in FF3 is also where Bahamut lived. And the big one, though, is Sorcerer Hein was a character in FF3, and in FF8 you learn that Hein was the progenitor of the sorcerers and the sorceresses. They're called descendants of Hein. Also, Ultimecia's clock hands were pointing at 3 and 8, which might be significant. Before I go on to some of the other ones, sounds reasonable enough. Like, other FFs are confirmed to be directly linked, like 10 and 7 are in the same world. And before I go on with the other theories, this cool shot of Squall endlessly wandering barren wasteland, surrounded by a thick, timeless gray fog. Very Demon Souls in a way. Timeless, colorless fog. It's an island in the middle of time and space, where he's just gonna wander alone eternally, or so he thinks. It's tiny, though. Not much space to wander. And Rinoa has her own personal purgatorial hell to deal with, except hers is in a little nicer setting. You can kind of barely see the bottom of her angel wings on the dress, beneath where her hair is cropped. The feather from the opening FMV to the game. Right. The feather of an angel? Huh? And the wings. Forgot about that shot. Triggers his memory of the promise they made. And he realizes again, he's not alone, but this This is trippy. It's almost like he can't remember her face, or like he's struggling. This actually lends credence to a different theory, though. The way she's distorted and warped. So the next big theory that I want to talk about before the game ends is one that I'm not sure where exactly I fall on. I tend to lean closer to it than others. It's the theory that Rinoa is Ultimecia. And the idea behind it is that Ultimecia is a future Rinoa who is driven mad with grief at the death of Squall, and she's gonna compress time to get him back. That shot's great. And her coming towards the camera over and over, blurred and blurred and blurred, until I think she comes into focus. Great stuff. So, there's the fact that Squall gives Rinoa his ring Griever. The two of them have, I think, almost exactly the same face, the same facial structure. And they have other pretty similar physical features, which I went over before. I don't know if I buy the theory entirely, but it feels a little more believable than the next one I'm going to talk about. It kind of, part of it feels like fans trying to give Ultimecia, who is not, to be fair, a great villain, more of a background than she actually has. It does sound pretty cool, and it does explain some hard-to-deny similarities. Again, I'm not sure where I fall on it. And the last theory that I want to discuss a little bit is the theory that Squall has been dead the whole time. And these final moments here at the end are leading up to him finally, his consciousness finally fading. This is a really popular theory that Squall has been dead since the end of Disc 1. And we've heard this song before. Yeah. So I guess I'll save this explanation till the end of the song. That's a great way to end things off. With Eyes on Me playing, and giving everyone closure. Not just Renoa and Squall, but everyone. Especially Raijin and Fujin and Seifer. Their ending scene is great to see. And Laguna visiting Rain's grave. Love this game so much. Anyway, I was going to talk about this prevalent popular theory about Squall being dead the whole time. And the idea is he died at the end of Disc 1 after Adel lodged that huge icicle through his chest. And everything that happens from then on is him in his dying moments hallucinating, basically. The last neurons firing off. If it's true, that seems like it would be a cheap cop-out ending, like most it's all a dream, all a hallucination endings are. So I'm not too fond of it, but that's the gist. It always struck me like the indoctrination ending theory of Mass Effect 3 did, that it's more of a fan attempt to hand-wave away plot holes more than anything. It explains some pretty big things, though, like why at the start of Disc 2 he has no wound from Adea's ice attack. But it's mostly just like, crazy bullshit starts happening after Disc 1, and so many plot twists. So therefore, it has to all be a dream, because there are so many dreamy, surreal elements to it, too. I don't buy it. I feel like if you pay attention to the major plot points, everything makes enough sense on its own. Convoluted and weird as the plot is, I think the plot holes that do exist are the more minor, common types that you really can't escape from creating in any work of fiction. Everything's gonna have plot holes. I think the major overarching story holds up, though, without it being all a hallucination or whatever. Granted, a lot of it relies on some pretty major contrivances, like the Guardian Forces cause amnesia thing, but it's still at the very least, explained, and Zell with his flavored bread and not hot dogs. Take that, English localization. Yeah. This is cool. This is a great way to end it, too. Don't die, Zell. Don't die like Squall did. So, that's it for FF8. This has been an exhausting recording session and an exhausting playthrough. It's been an endurance run, but absolutely worth it. Would do it again in a heartbeat. This playthrough took a lot of time to figure out how to do and put together without getting bogged down in those tedious JRPG stuff, and kind of the reason it took me so long to get around to LPing FF8, even though I love it so much, is because I really had to think long and hard about how to keep the pace of it up so that it stays fun to watch, and so that it doesn't run into being like a 100-part series. And I think that went really, really well. I was worried about doing this playthrough because I didn't want this being 100 episodes, like 60 of which were random battles. But yeah, they came together so well, and I'm so happy that I finally committed to doing this one, because I play FF8 like once every year or two because it's one of my favorite games ever. So to share that, it's always my goal, and whenever I do a playthrough, especially of a game like this, one of my favorites ever, is to kind of share my love for a game with everyone else, and to kind of help everyone appreciate what it is about this that I love so much. In FF8, I'm happy I got around to doing it finally. This is my favorite Final Fantasy game, one of my favorite games ever. My top 5, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10 in no particular order. 9 is, I've always said this, 9 is definitely better than 8, but I just have more nostalgia and more fondness towards 8. So glad I did this one. And there's so much content in it worth showing. It's a little tedious at times, but still, like, 26 hours, maybe a fraction of that, was a little annoying for me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I don't know if that's possible. I've a long history with FF8. It's what got me into Final Fantasy in the first place. If you came into this hating Final Fantasy VIII, I hope I changed your mind in some aspect, even budged you a little bit. I know there are a lot of people who don't like FF8. I don't entirely agree with them, obviously. I showed so much of the game's content, but there's still a lot left that I didn't get around to showing. So if you've never played it before, or even if you have and you haven't seen a lot of this stuff, go pick it up. The Steam version you saw had some fairly huge issues with the button prompts, and at the end, the frame rate dips, but I mean, even get it on PS1 if you have a PS3 or a PS2, or if you still have a PS1 around, you have options. 15 years on, FF8 holds up incredibly well at that. And yeah, this year it does mark the 15th anniversary of FF8 in North America. So what better way to celebrate than with a love letter of an LP, I figure. And Renault and Squall sailing off into the distance on Balam Garden beneath the moon. Great establishing shot, or ending shot, to finish things off. Yeah, it has been an exhausting long playthrough, but 100% worth it. Great, great ending. So, for the final time in this playthrough, thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this playthrough, these videos, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching again. Take it easy. Have a good one. Stay tuned for the next series.